important role in the current scenario, and what are the issues connected with it? Nowadays, we don't have a mobile. We say that it is a multi-purpose pocket computer. This is the scenario when we are going for smart homes. So the thing is that for the IoT device, we need to specify that those devices and the data that we are in control. So nowadays we say that when we talk about hacking, we have the cyber attacks, we have the spyware, we have the malicious software attacks, we have the cracks and system failure. So these are all occurring in the IoT scenario, because nowadays we say we don't have a mobile in our hand, but we have a multi-purpose computer in our hand. So when we are talking about IoT as a buzzword, the thing is important that it is coming with a fair share of concerns and security challenges, because nowadays we say that everything we are purchasing, whether it's online SBI or whether any transactions that we are doing with and we are preferring to do it with our mobile only, rather than opening the system and doing with that. So there will be some security issues that we need to look into the specification. Now, as IoT security is a safety component tied to the Internet of Things, and it strives to protect IoT devices and networks against cybercrime. The data collected from IoT sensors contain a large amount of private information, and it needs to be preserved. That's very important, because whether it's privacy or whether it's security, the attention need to be placed on these particular concerns. So when we are talking about the major components of the IoT, we have the sensors, we have the devices, we have the data processing tools, we have the feedback and control, and we have this cloud control and the server system. So security and privacy are considered essential components and must be added to all these, whether it's the IoT sensors, whether devices or your cloud server or platform, there need to be security that need to be specified for all these basic components of the IoT. And when we say that we have industrial utilization of the IoT devices, whether it's a cyber physical system or the cyber transportation system or machine to machine interaction, so the data is flowing at a very heavy rate, and we need to specify that how the security and privacy concerns need to be controlled on these types of systems. So when we talk about the security architecture, there are fundamental 4 layers of security analysis, and those 4 layers are your application, your support, your network, and your perception. And when we are talking in terms of IoT security, your application will be your smart transportation environment. For example, if you're using the smart transportation service, your support will be the cloud and the smart computing environment. Your network layer will be your internet portable communication protocols, and your perception layer will be the various RFID or the GPS and the sensors which are collecting data. So your network security management is mainly working to control all these layers in terms of the data that is traveling all across to them. So when we're talking about the perception layer, as I told you, so the perception layer is connecting data from the various RFID readers, the sensors and other equipments. So the different components involved, and the critical component in this layers are the sensors that use for capturing and representing the physical world. That is the data given by the sensors connect to this layer. And so it's very important that the information from the devices and the properties of the objects or the things and the environment conditions need to be specified for utilization of this particular devices in the perceptual layer. So when you have a network layer, you are connected, for example, to a Wi-Fi network or a satellite network, and this layer is more responsible and dependable in terms of the previous layer, because now you are connected to a Wi-Fi network, so your broadcasting will be there, your data will be traveling from one device to another device, and a lot of sensitivity of the security now arises much more in this network layer. Then the support layer comes, which is a mediator between the upper and the lower layers, and it is basically for setting up a proper application layer, as it handles with the merging of the upward and the network traffic, and it mainly specifies the computing power of the various IoT devices that needs to be generated. And we have the application layer, and this is the personalized delivery where the application user deals with this layer, and whatever application the user wants, whatever application is presented is taken care of in this layer. Whether we have the smart water, smart transportation, we have the smart air system, your computer, mobiles and televisions all are interacting through the users with this particular layer. Now all these layers have their different concerns, where there can be security vulnerabilities in terms of your various types of challenges which are coming as of lack of security expertise, non-updations of the software that by the customers, and also various type of cost and operational constraints can also be there in the IoT specification. The most important thing is that security approaches heavily rely on the encryption, and is not good fit for constrained devices, as they cannot perform sophisticated encryption and decryption quickly. So the device authorization along with authentication is critical when it comes to securing the IoT products and systems. So it's very important that IoT platform should have a two-factor authentication, and usage of strong passwords or certificates can help to solve this issue. So whenever you are saying that you are going to use an IoT device, then it's normally recommended that you need to take care of a very strong password or some certificates which are being specified in terms of your devices that are being used. And other thing is that devices need to be updated and effectively utilized, and the security patches to firmware or software would have several challenges. So it's very important that they get updated effectively, and it's very important, like transport layer encryption and TLS is using, we need to use them, because it's better that we use them rather than encrypting of the messages after or before the transfer. So we have the transport layer security that can also be utilized, and it's very important that there are various challenges that are occurring in the IoT security needs to be handled in a very efficient manner. Also, the sensor data should also be stored and proceed securely, and because the data integrity of the checksum and signatures need to be specified, and the data that is not required should be disposed of in a detected better way and should not be retained in the part of the system. And it's very important that some legal and regulatory framework should be maintained in this particular sensor data that is being collected, and all applications and services should also be secured, and various vulnerabilities and breaches and are going to happen, but measures should be taken as much as to avoid these conflict of interest, because because as we say that we are into the world where we are continuously utilizing one or other IoT devices, so there will be vulnerabilities. We cannot say that we have a full proof system being maintained. There will be vulnerabilities, but we by using our intelligence and by using more of intelligence and specifications to various type of security constraints put on the security of the IoT devices, we can handle these types of issues. Also, the technologies in terms of IoT security is that it is very challenging IoT security, and it involves a network connection that connect the IoT devices with the backend system on the internet. So capabilities including the traditional endpoint securities like antivirus, anti-malware, and firewalls, intrusion prevention system, they are the basic things that need to be utilized. And we have the Cisco, Darktrace, and Sendrio. These are the companies that are developing the network security protocols and capabilities in terms of your antivirus solutions, in terms of your firewall solutions. So these are the starting practices that needs to be adopted. Then also authentication is the next thing that needs to be specified. So it grants user the authentication for the particular IoT devices, and this can be done by multiple static passwords rather than for a more of authentication mechanism where we can go for two-factor authentication, digital certificates, and also nowadays we are going for biometrics also. And the thing is that the various types of vendors like Biomos Technologies, Covist, Entras Data Card, and Gemalto, these are the companies that are going when we have more of machine-to-machine interactions in terms of authentication scenarios. Now, it's very important that encryption also plays a very important role. So when you have IoT devices and backend systems using the standard cryptographic algorithms for maintaining integrity and preventing any type of sniffing by the hackers, so it's important that several IoT devices and hardware profiles limit the ability to have standard encryption processes and protocols. All IoT encryption must be accompanied by full encryption key lifecycle management processes, because if you're using a poor key management, this will affect the overall security. So many vendors like Cisco is doing a lot of work in this IoT security, as well as HPE is going for IoT encryption. So you can utilize the standards that are provided by these particular organizations. Also, as I told you, that analytics also plays a very important role of collecting, aggregating, monitoring, and normalizing the data. So these is done by using the AI and the machine learning and the big data facilities that are being provided, as I told you, because until and unless the security, as I told you, the concept of the credit card, nowadays, if you don't know the frauds that are being happening and you are not able to monitor and normalize those decisions, so you are not able to understand what can be the further scenarios in which your device can be hacked. So again, we have Cisco and the Casper Sky Labs and various other organizations which are working on the security analytics also. Then we have another solutions that are in terms of the API security and the representational state transfer, that is the REST systems are being utilized, and they are utilizing and providing the backend system securities. And when we talk about the vendors like Google or your MuleSoft and other organizations, they are using the application programming interface securities, and they're providing the backend security solutions for many of the IoT devices. Now, as I told you, we are using so many security parameters, but there are huge numbers of breaches that are occurring in the IoT scenarios. There was a breach called as Stuckness. Stucknet is a sophisticated computer worm that is designed to detect specific machinery in a nuclear industry. So this happened, and Stuckness has safeguards that prevent from being detected from machines running specific security programs, and it looks like a reprograms them to perform varying cycles, resulting in the centrifuges and the disintegrating solutions. So it is the one of the computer worm destroying real world devices rather than hacking them to perform software damage. So this is one of the breach that is is very much being studied and very much being analyzed in the various IoT world. Then Mirai attack is one of the most common IoT attack, and it is affecting the IoT devices like IP cameras, monitors, logger runnings, and the combinations of millions of devices and the collection of bots and botnet result in a distributed denial of service attacks. And it is one of the major network, as a network IoT device cannot perform on when this particular attack occurs. And one of the distinct feature about Mirai is that it is so much hard coded to ignore the specific IP ranges, even the IP addresses by when you talk about organizations like HP, GE, and the US Department of Defense. They were also being very much difficulty in analysis of this type of attack. And it is a perfect example and demonstrating how designers of IoT devices with integrated publicly available software recognizes that default login credentials should be changed and potentially abused by severe attacks. So normally this is the information given to everybody when you are logging into a particular device, that you need to change your login credentials in terms of passwords in a very frequent manner, because then your activity can be, because we think that why my account will be hacked, but I can tell you that as users anybody can be facing this particular scenario. So it's better that you use your credentials in your private domain only, and it's better that you keep on regularly changing your login credentials. Then another type of attack is a casino data leak, and it is a attack which is hacking the servers for various type of sensitive informations. And it is a scenario in which hackers gain the access to the network using a vulnerability in the smart thermometer. See, we can have the smart thermometer, we can have the anything that is being connected to the cloud. Then the hackers hack those particular devices, and the fact that even the most straightforward device with the internet access can bring down the strictest network, making this attack quite daunting. So it's very important that this particular attack by small thermometer only can cause lot of damage. Then we have the Jeep attack. This is again type of attack. This is mostly affecting the transportation when we have a smart transportation systems being adopted, and it is believed that many cars that connected to a Uconnect system are at risk, as only a handful of cars are tested for this particular weakness. This is also a scenario because many a times various types of IoT devices are launched in the market, and their testing is not done at a very specific stages, and they are not being tested very effectively. And some of the apps and some of the other devices that are being connected to those particular they get the breaches, and then the hackers affect those particular devices because of the apps that are in the middle, or because of their testing not being done so much efficiently. And the vulnerabilities that come with it are not being heavily considered, as the car manufacturers are desperate to integrate smartphone technology in their vehicles. So this was a scenario because the car manufacturers in various types of countries wanted that their drivers should be accessed with the smart devices, and their drivers should be accessed with, because the driver location and where the driver is going should need to be tracked out. So this type of attack occurred because the Uconnect system it was not very much checked efficiently and tested for various types of attacks that can happen. Then there's a medical implant hack. This is the FDA recalled that 500,000 pacemakers in 2017 in the fear that they could be hacked remotely. See, you have the pacemakers that can be evenly attacked, and the example demonstrates the importance of security for the health and well-being of the patients. So a lot of data of health people and lot of patients is being specified in those pacemakers, and people are using that, and because of again the testing, since it was not done very much effectively of those IoT devices, and they were utilized by various types of companies, and they cause various types of medical implant attack. Nowadays, it's very important that you use some of the tools which are much more secure as the other. For example, the M2M Labs in Manspiring is an open source application network for building machine-to-machine applications, and it has using the Apache Cassandra and the NoSQL database. So as compared with other tools, it is compared to be more secure. So when you are going for more secure tools in terms of your IoT building analysis, then you can go with the M2M Labs mainspring. And the thing is that it is working with a J2E server and highly scalable Apache Cassandra database. So it is considered to be secure rather than other IoT devices. Then there's a Flutter claimed to fame its long-range programmable processor core for electronic project designed for engineers, students, and hobbyists. It's an Arduino-based board and has a wireless transmitter that reaches more than half a mile. And again, it says that it has a 256-bit AES encryption, which is easy to use. So people can go with this also because it specifies as one of the better tool in terms of security. Then we have the Eclipse IoT project, the Eclipse IoT project, which is using the Lua programming language, because this is one of the new programming language. And when we say that we are going with C, C++, Java, or a Python, then the advantages is that we know the particular language, but the disadvantage is that most of the people know these languages, so they have more prone to attacks. Now, this Lua is a new programming language, and it is ideal for IoT programming language promoted by Eclipse. And whether it's various projects like the Mihiki, Koniki, and the Paho systems are also using the IoT Eclipse programming language supported by Lua. So it is considered to be more secure as compared to the other tools in terms of IoT management. Then Kinoma is also again a prototype for electronic devices, and it is easily to be connected with iOS and Android app. And for various types of runtime platforms, it is considered to be more secure, and it is considered to be utilized in an effective manner for smartphones, tablets, and other IoT devices. Then Node-RED is also considered an effective tool for IoT, and it is also considered to be more secure as the other devices, and it is able to connect with various types of devices, surfaces, and APIs. And when testing of these particular tools was done, they were considered to be more secure as those other tools which are used for IoT development. Now, it's very important that we say that IoT is the buzzword and IoT is being utilized. We need to see the pros and cons that are coming with those type of IoT specification. Obviously, the pros are that it's very important that we need to have the machine-to-machine communication, and whether we are saying that we are saving the time, or whether we are saying that we are communication is being done in effective manner in terms of saving the cost, power, energy, whether it's a business intelligent, whether it's term of automation. These are the things that we need to take into account, because now we are in the world that we cannot go back 10 years and say that we want to go back in those scenarios. We have to adapt to these technologies, but in a very careful manner, with the proper testing being done in a effective scenario. But there are various cons also, and we need to specify that these cons also need to be looked, because normally when we start using a devices, we focus on its pros, we don't focus on its cons. So now the cons that are affected by the IoT specification is that it has the increased chance of the hackers stealing the information. Then secondly, the storage and retrieval of the data is a very important issue, because I told you that that data is, unless and until it is producing some good machine learning specification, unless it is analyzed, it is of no use. And normally when we have the smart cameras in our homes also, the data is normally being archived, or data is being deleted at a particular time interval. So the thing that needs to be realized that whether that data is wasteful, or whether that data needs to be analyzed and generated for producing some better results. Now there is a possibility of failures also, because as I told told you, when proper testing and analysis is not being done, then a lot of IoT devices have resulted in failure also. Corruption also comes to an issue, because a lot of data has been corrupted by the IoT devices, not very efficiently and smartly handled. And the thing is that the daily activities, when we get automated, it results in fewer requirements of human resources. And this is also a scenario, because then there will be issue of people losing their jobs, or whether the employment issues will be occurring. But I think the thing is that there should be a heavy dependence on the human controlling the devices rather than devices controlling the humans. Then I think this scenario will be much efficient. Now, there are various challenges for various type of challenges, and they are the 10 biggest challenges that are occurring in the IoT industries. And these are occurring because nowadays we say that the people connected to IoT devices will reach to 23 billion, and over to 60 billion in 2025. That means that every device that was once thought as a secure when the customers first bought it becomes insecure, because now you are prone to connect it to a cloud, and then hackers can steal your information. So that's very important to protect the customers against such type of attacks. And each device needs proper testing, very important, before they launch into the public, and companies need to update them regularly. That also need to be done, because failing to do so will completely ruin, as they will be resulting in lot of breaches and lot of unsecure transactions being handled. The scenario that being specified is because of these insufficient testing and updating, there can be various types of attacks, or even on the hardware and even on the software. So we cannot say that only the device get affected. There can be lot of software and hardware attacks that can be occurred in any type of scenario. So we need to think on the sufficient testing and updating before launching that product into the market. Then again, there's a brute force attack, and as I told you, we say that default password we are keeping. And as I discussed, there is a Mirai, the malware, and the Mirai malware normally occurred because of this issue only, because people normally say that it's difficult to remember password, so we have kept a constant password. So this need to be avoided, because this may lead in the denial of service attack, the brute force attacks, because your system and your activity become susceptible, and our hackers are easily able to recognize. Then we have the malware and the ransomware. As IoT devices are connected to various types of devices, then there will be number of malware and the ransomware that can be exploited in terms of that. And we had the malware and the ransomware attacks that are happening. So many organizations are suffering from them. So when the traditional ransomware relies on the encryption to completely lock out users out of the different devices and platforms, there's an ongoing hybridization of both malware and ransomware strains that aims to merge the different types of attacks, because a ransomware attack could potentially focusing on limiting or disabling the device functionality and then stealing that information. For example, a simple IP camera is ideal for capturing sensitive information from various locations. So a webcam can be logged, and footage and various type of information can be stealed. So the ever increasing number of IoT devices will give birth to unpredictability in regards to future attacks permutations. So these are very commonly happening in various types of IoT devices. Then we say, then when we're talking about the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrencies, and coupled with the recent rise of cryptocurrencies, because India banned it and so many other countries also not using it, because it is leading to a hackers trying to cash in on the crypto craze. This is again type of an attack which is happening. And the main vulnerability isn't the blockchain itself, but the blockchain app which is running according with the development. Because normally when blockchain is being utilized, there is an app or there is a software concerned with it. So the hackers try to access those particular apps and software and make them their sensitive flow of information to be hacked from that particular scenarios. So in that particular scenarios, there are a lot of attacks that are happening into the devices in terms of your cryptocurrencies. So IoT application structures and platforms relying on blockchain technology need to be regulated and constantly monitored and updated if it were to prevent any future cryptocurrencies exploits. Because I told you that in terms of IoT, it's very important that your dynamic password, your regular updations, your regular monitoring needs to be done in order to avoid these types of attacks. Then we have, when we are using, we are saying we are using mobile, we are using cloud, we are using web. Then their types of, whether you are connected with your TVs or HVAC systems, all are prone to various types of security and privacy concerns. And most manufacturers tend to focus only on getting the app and device on the market, and in order to attract the users and say that we have the app also and we have this connectivity also. So the thing is that this particular risk and this particular testing which is not done efficiently and bringing the product into the market into a hurry can cause various types of issues. And then the customer and then the business intelligence users need to think on the scenario that we need to first fully check those IoT devices, regularly testing them, updating them, and then bringing into the market. Then the small IoT attacks are when we talk about your Mirai attack in 2017, it was a Reaper, a significantly more dangerous botnet than the Mirai. This also happened, and more types of micro breaches, because nowadays people don't say that the hackers will be hacking the servers or something like that. They find a weak level, like the apps that are being connected, like the backend systems which are not very much protected, like a small flaw because the testing was not done very efficiently. So these types of things, rather than focusing on the big guns, because we say that some companies are more prone towards testing and then bringing the product into the market. But normally what happens, various types of startups and the other companies say that they don't do proper testing and bring the product into the market, and then there is a leak out of a lot of data in terms of millions, and records are being affected because of those particular privacy breaches. Then the thing is that now we are utilizing the IoT devices in terms of your AI and automation. So this amount of user data can be quite difficult to manage from a data collection and network perspective. So there is scenarios, as we all tell, that most pressing IoT technologies we need to consider while we build an app based on IoT in the following years. And we need to specify that there need to be very strict regulation frameworks for the manufacturers, and also very strict specifications in terms of the bringing the product into the market. It's very important that when you are bringing the product into the market, it needs to be very efficiently checked and very efficiently monitored, and then it needs to be specified whether it's not causing any type of breaches and attacks. Nowadays we say we are into the home invasions, because we have the specifications of smart homes, and we are using so many smart devices, because these things are we say that we are gone into the home automation system. The security of these IoT devices is a concern, because it can expose your IP address that can pinpoint to your residential address, and there can be various types of security concerns related to your home. We normally considered our home as very much of secure platform. Nowadays, since we are connected with the scenario of smart homes, then your potential threats are occurring at your home also. So this home automation system can also cause various types of breaches and attacks. So we need to be very much careful when we are using any type of IoT devices at our homes also. And we say that smart cars are into the picture, and we say the remote vehicle access are being into the scenarios. So this type of solutions are resulting various types of risk of car hijack and accessing, because you are using the autonomous cars, your smart car through the remote access, and there can be a situation when anyone can control your car and can leave you to vulnerable to various type of lethal crimes. So when we talk about these types of attacks, these are all related to these scenarios where we are giving full control to the machine. That's very important, because in the current scenario, when we say if we are giving full control to the machine, then the hackers consider to be this is as the most weak point to be attacked on. Now there are many IoT devices which send messages and without any encryption, so that for that it's very important that some standards and the TLS level of security and some private communications need to be done. For example, we need to utilize this transport layer security, and this encryption should be done in order to avoid any type of untrustworthy communication that can cause in terms of frauds and breaches. Because unless and until we take own care of our IoT devices, and manufacturers are regularly updated on the issues on the devices that are causing various types of breaches and failures, then the scenario will be in terms of more a fraudulent environment. So if you need to avoid that, there need to be AI being involved into that, in which you can specify the various types of attacks. You can build models which can give the surveys of the unauthorized activities, of the various untrustworthy activities, and this will help to regularly update and regularly test the various types of devices. So when these type of attacks comes, then we need to specify the solutions also for those type of attacks, and we need to make it a priority in order to avoid these breaches. So according to the results of the Altman, Vedri and Company survey, almost half of all the US companies that use IoT devices have been hit by a security breach in 2017. And whether the WikiLeaks massive trove of documents and file release in the 2017, to the purported CIA hack and the Kaspersky's damning critique of IoT security challenges. So this is being specified, because when you are using the smart ACs, you are using the smart ovens, you are using the smart cars. So when the US is being attacked by so many attacks and so many issues, so in India this particular thing need to be specified. When these concerns occur, we need to look into those matters and do a proper regularly update and testing, and then present a particular product in the market. So it's very important. Number one is to protect the IoT network, to protect and secure the network connecting to the IoT devices. And this can be done by, as I told you, by using the scenarios of antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls, and intrusion prevention detection systems. And lot of companies, as I told you, like Cisco and other, are coming into the market and providing solutions for this. Then authentication of the IoT devices is very important by authentication mechanism like two-factor authentication, digital certificates, and biometrics, because this will avoid the unauthorized users to access a particular IoT device. Then you have the IoT data encryptions need to be done, where you have various type of backend system and cryptographic algorithms, and a full encrypted lifecycle management system need to be boost the overall security and privacy of your data. This also need to be specified. Then you have the solutions which need to be specified in terms of public key infrastructure, and these models need to be developed, and to ensure a secure connection between the IoT device and IoT public key infrastructure methods such as X.509 digital certificate, cryptographic key, life cycle capabilities, public-private key generation, distribution, management, and revocation. These are the cryptographic solutions that need to be used for various types of IoT devices. Then we have the analytics. As I told you, unless and until a proper analysis of the IoT devices data is being done, then your attacks and intrusion will not be identified. So you need to do those, and you need to analyze in terms of the behavior of the user, which can be done by installing solutions like firewalls, and also providing solutions by AI and machine learning modeling. And then you have the various IoT API security methods that not only protect the integrity of the data, but also the devices. And as I told you, the documented REST based APIs, that is your representative state transfers APIs, they are being utilized, and they are providing more authorization to the devices developers, and apps are communicating with APIs or detecting the potential threats and attacks against specific APIs. So these scenarios are utilized when your various apps were being targeted. So this type of API security method using the REST based APIs are providing a more authenticated solutions between the various devices and machine to machine communication. Then very important that you need to very rigorously test the IoT hardware in terms of its range, capacity, latencies, and in terms of its security and power consumptions also, so that without proper functioning and without proper testing, it should be not come into the market, because then the hackers and then the frauders will be able to analyze the vulnerabilities in those devices and those hardwares and attack them as their ease. Then you have these develop the secured IoT apps, giving them maturity to the current IoT technology. The developers of the IoT applications must emphasize on the security aspect of the IoT application by strictly implementing all above IoT security technologies, whether it's terms of your APIs, whether it's terms of REST-based APIs, or whether your firewall term scenarios, or whether we are talking about your certification, digital biometrics, and so on. So a complete research on the security of the IoT application, try their best to strike a perfect balance between the user interface and the security of the apps, because we say that so many apps are into the market, and their security concerns can be an issue. And this is very important that you need to avoid launching the IoT devices in the rush. And to overcome this challenge, the manufacturers of the IoT devices should avoid launching their products without proper planning for the long-term support for the security of the IoT device and the applications. And they first need to develop a prototype, do a proper testing of that, and then develop that and pose that particular product into the market. And beware of the latest IoT security threats and breaches that I told you, and this can be only done if you are doing a proper analytics of your IoT devices, that because how much secure can your device be, it can lead can cause various type of breaches or threats. So for this also you need to be make that you are doing constantly monitoring in terms of your analytics and predictive analytics through machine learning and AI algorithms, because of the data that you are getting from that, and then you can pros those results and give a very good analytics for the companies to further enhance their products. And it's very important that IoT would change the development services process. Although moving with the latest technology is encouraged, but it's also advisable to study and analyze the negative aspect and be prepared for the outcome. The digital business need to understand that though the IoT connected products provide effortless support, the same devices have become an attractive attack plane for hackers and cyber criminals seeking to cause disruption and exfiltrate the sensitive data. This is very important, because we are in a rush to use a particular tool, we are in a rush to use a particular app into the market, but we are not seeing the security concerns that are related with that particular IoT development. But still I can tell you that although these are the issues that are coming into the market of the security, but IoT has worked and is working in a very efficient manner in this pandemic scenario. And see how the current precaution in the Kalikanda smart city has been done with the help of the IoT framework. So here this is the current scenario in which IoT smart city has been developed uh, by using the visitor screening mechanisms. And this is the Kalikanda smart city. There's a periodic alarm for the sanitization to be done by the staff. So they get a periodic alarm for that. Awareness being generated in the red zones. See, the statistic monitoring is being done. This is also very important. All the help desk report is being prepared and monitored. CCTV monitoring of the red zones. See, COVID-19 dashboard developed, and this dashboard, as I told you, nowadays we can easily develop by the Tableau and other visualization tools. Live announcements are being done. This is a live example where we can see that people are controlling the machine, but not the machine controlling the people. So in this particular scenario, it is very important for us to understand that whether we talk about IoT, whether we talk about any kind of device, unless and until we are controlling it, it is very much reliable. But as the machine start controlling us, unless and until it is foolproof, it can cause various issues. So in this particular security concerns, we need to specify that there should be a scenario where people, as we say, should be controlling the machine rather than machine controlling us. Because when you have full control over the machine and your algorithms and your testing and your updations are done very regularly, then you can specify that your scenario and the specification of security breaches will be less, rather than fully depending on them and whether the product is out before any type of testing being done. So that reliability issue can occur. So thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your presentation. Yes, I request participants if there is any queries you can ask now. Yes, I think no questions. So I am so thankful to Sherin Zafar madam for a wonderful presentation. She is so sincere in her work. By seeing her before 20 minutes of startup session, so we are thankful to you for making this sponsored faculty development program a memorable one. We will be extending your sincere service in future also. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm a little bit sorry for the participants. Actually, one participant put a query for the running of the node red, and yesterday only I called Durga Devi ma'am, and I did everything and installed that in my system also, but suddenly that system crashed, and I think I called Durga Devi ma'am also in late evening, that that particular system which had the node red being installed had the scenario. I wanted to give the hands-on on the Node-RED. But what I'm doing, ma'am, I'm sharing a link where the participants can be connected with the link, and they can connect to the Node-RED easy installation scenario. And if they have any issues, they can directly connect to me. And due to my actually the problem is that nowadays we have kept one system fully for the presentations and for the teaching, and that one system which had all my Node-RED being installed crashed. So I'm sincerely very much like I yesterday also called you and told you the scenario, because I wanted to show the hands-on of the Node-RED for the various participants that asked me also. So ma'am, I'm sharing a link here. This is a very easy link where the if the participants want to connect with the Node-RED on the Windows, they can go with the link. And also if they have any installation issues, they can connect to me also. Second thing, participants, you need to understand that the Node-RED installation can be a little bit creaky, because although you may have done everything right, but it may give an error. So you had to do it 2-3 times. My success when the Node-RED when I first did was the 5th time, because I had to check the path, I had to check the scenarios again and again. I had to reinstall it, then boot it again. So Node-RED installation is like an NS3 installation. When you install NS2 and NS3, then you have the issues. You are doing everything right, but still an issues can occur. So this link that I have sent you is a very easy link where a step-by-step every procedure is being specified. And if you go very much sincerely by these particular steps, then you can easily work on the simulation Node-RED tool. And secondly, if you can have any issues in that installation, you can connect me, and I have my mail IDs, and I also sending you my WhatsApp number, so you can connect to me. And I'll be fully helping you out in any scenarios if their installation, because as with the security specification, Node-RED is a very good simulation IoT tool that can be utilized by various researchers. So you can use that, and it's better that you go for Ubuntu installation also for the Node-RED, but Windows also it is possible, and I've given you the link where easy step-by-step you can go through it. And if you have some issues, you can contact me, but a little patience is required. As I told you, for Node-RED installation, it may take, because from system to system, it may take a little bit issues. Maybe it got installed in my one of the system, and that one crashed. And today in the morning also, when I was connecting through that system, my voice was not audible. In the morning, I was connecting with the organizers, and my voice was not audible. So I had to get to the another system. Here, then installation is not there. So because of this pandemic situation, we have the issue that one system is kept for the presentations and classes, another system is kept for your thesis work or your research work. So that system had the issue, and when I was connecting with that system, it had the issues where I was not connecting with the Google Meet. It had the problem of the mic, but I have given you those steps, so you can connect with this particular installation step, and you can connect with me if you have any type of issues in those installations.
Okay, ma'am, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Okay, participants, with this we shall wind up this session. So all the theory session has been over. And then afternoon, 2 o'clock, we will send you a link in the group. You can click on the link and you can answer the questions. It is just 15 minutes, simple questions. So you can answer it, and then you can join the yoga session by 2:30. So we are having a yoga session between 2:30 to 3:30, and then we will have another validatory session. So I invite all the participants to join in validatory session. So that is very much important. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all participants.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.